Right, so I'm gonna get us started then. At any time, if you do want to unmute yourself to ask questions, to give feedback, you're more than welcome to. You can also use that little handy chat box there at the bottom. So tonight, I'm gonna have us start in a restorative pose. We have done this one a few classes back. This is sometimes called a brook pose, so turning our body into like the rippling water of a creek or a brook that we can lie down in and listen to the peaceful water. It creates some lifts throughout the body. I'm going to give us an option to do a more gentle version. I'm adding a little bit more of an inversion in my posture tonight because that's what I need for my body. So for tonight's props, extra pillows. I don't have a bolster. I just grabbed the pillow off of my bed. Maybe an extra throw blanket, a towel. My towel's back there keeping the chilliness from coming out underneath my door. Meditation cushions, yoga blocks, yoga straps if you have them. If you don't have all this stuff, don't worry about it. Just make do with what you have. Throw pillows, and throw blankets are great things to have for our practice. The bigger the prop, the more of a lift you're going to get. So this restorative pose is a chest heart opener. It helps counter rounding that we do throughout our day, hunching over, improves our posture, and improves our breathing. So I know some of us are affected by the allergies and cedar fever and all that good stuff. So this pose helps stretch the rib cage and those muscles between the ribs, which allows us to take bigger, deeper breaths. And then a little elevation for the legs will just help relieve tension in the back. I'm going to try to take a bigger lift for my upper back. We'll see how it goes. We might want a little bit of support behind the head as well. I also have my folded chair to the front of my mat where my legs are going to be. If you're near a piece of furniture, a lazy boy, a sofa, you can always just throw your legs up onto that piece of furniture as well. I'm going to add a little extra cushion to the seat of my chair. So I'm going to take my blanket here and place it there. If you don't have the chair, you can have two pillows, one for your legs and then one for the lift in the low back, for the upper back. If you want to add this nice big heart expansion, it might also be a smaller expansion with a folded towel running perpendicular to the top of the yoga mat. In this pose, we want the back of our head, our shoulders, our upper arm bones, and possibly the hands, because we're going to be in cactus position, to all have contact with the floor. The upper back arches over our support, and then the low back also should be grounded on the floor. So I'm not sure if I'm quite in the right position with my chair, but I'm going to see where I'm at here. And it might take a moment. Like I said, don't have the chair, add some blankets underneath your knees, some extra pillows. So my low back and hips are on the floor, and I'm going to drape my spine over my pillow. And then I'm going to work it so that I can bring my arm bones, shoulders, and the back of the head back to the floor. And this is quite a big stretch for me because I have been seated all day over a computer. So I'm sure my posture hasn't been great, but I'm going to give it a few deep breaths. And I'm sure after a few moments in this pose, my muscles will adjust. If you find it difficult to breathe, or after a few deep breaths, you're unable to relax for whatever reason, and you feel like you're holding on to tension in the body, that's a pretty good sign that we need to readjust. So we'll probably need to decrease the lift, the height of our props. Good, I'm gonna kind of get a look at y'all. So keep moving around, keep making your adjustments. Add on, take away. And we'll take a moment here to get comfortable. And like I said, at first, especially if you're really tight like me, it might not feel super comfortable, but after a few deep breaths, the body should start to release and relax, and it should feel supported. So our restorative poses, we want to let go of putting an effort necessarily into the posture. We're placing the body in such a way that we'll receive the benefit of the pose with the least amount of, exertion. So once we're in position, and you're always welcome to lie flat in Shavasana if that's best for your body, make it work for you. Loosen up the clothing, move those ponytails out of the way, eventually closing our eyes, redirecting all of our awareness and attention inward. Let's start our practice tonight with one nice cycle of breath in and out through the nose. And let's make this a pretty big breath. So we'll breathe in. We'll feel that expansion, that filling up in our body. A nice big exhale out. Just feel a sigh of relief in that breath. Feeling any tension, stress, worries in our mind and body melt away. Let a quality of heaviness come over our body. Let the body sink and connect to the ground below. Let go of any expression across the face, unfurling the brow. Allow our hardworking eyeballs to sink into the sockets. Maybe poof the cheeks with air, swallow a couple times, yawn, releasing the mouth, tongue, and jaw. And then mentally continue to move through the physical body. Softening, relaxing. All the way out into the fingertips. All the way down into the toes. And as we're mentally moving through our body tonight, we can also take in inventory of all the pieces and parts that are ready for our practice tonight, that gave us the power and energy to get to our mats tonight. And we can also honor and recognize the pieces and parts that maybe need a little extra TLC tonight. Remembering that we each have permission to modify and adjust our practice accordingly. So continue to let the whole body relax. Start to feel and notice the rhythm of the breath again, in and out through the nose. Depending on how much support we have under the body, our breath might feel a little different. So we might be feeling more of our breath work around our chest, the side bodies. But maybe we can still feel the breath moving and the abdomen going up and down with the inhales and exhales. We can notice the breath swirling around the throat and how it flows in and out through the nostrils, left to right. We're going to take this breath a little bit deeper and move into our Samavriti pranayama, which is our even or equal breathing. Just doing the best we can tonight. So the next time we get to an inhale, we will each mentally count the number that we're breathing in to fill ourselves up with fresh air, prana, and energy. When we get to the exhale, we try to breathe the same number back out. We never force or strain the breath. With practice and over time, that breath will start to elongate and lengthen on its own. So we might be adding 1 or 2 more counts to both the inhale and the exhale. And if we want to add a very soft ujjayi breath, We'll add that soft, gentle constriction in the base and back of the throat. This should create that soft whisper-like sound. The Ujjayi breath also helps to slow down our breathing. It stimulates the thyroid, parathyroid, helping to improve our endocrine system. And it literally gives the mind something to focus on, that vibration that we're creating with our breath and our body. Let's all cycle through one more round of breathing. Again, move at a comfortable pace for you. And this next round of breath, we're simply going to try to make it our biggest breath of our day. So let go of mentally counting the breath. That next inhale, just try to expand and fill the body up as much as possible. Abdomen can rise, rib cage can stretch apart. We'll fill ourselves all the way up to the brim in the throat. And then when we get to the exhale, same thing. Take the time to empty, empty, empty. Try to clean out every last drop of stale old air and energy. Gentle contraction of the abdominal muscles to help push that diaphragm up and push all the air out of the lower lobes of the lungs. And then at the bottom of that breath, we will let go of trying to control and follow the breath for a moment. So it will wander away wherever it wants to go. We'll start to feel and notice the whole body again. And just give the body a little wake-up call. So let's start with the toes, give them a little wiggle, wiggle the fingertips, a gentle rock of the head side to side. And since we're on a little bit different of a position, just do what works best for your body with your props. Some of us will be able to stretch our arms even further overhead, reaching to the opposite side of the room. If the legs are elevated over a pillow, just try pointing and flexing the feet. Maybe the feet will hover a few inches from the floor. We can do that one leg at a time. If your legs are up on the seat of a chair or a piece of furniture, you can try stretching one leg up at a time, pressing the back of the calf into the edge of that piece of furniture. So we're just starting to stretch, wiggle, move the body around here. The next exhale, let's slide our elbows back down to those cactus arms. Again, depending where we are. So if we're higher up on a prop under our back, we probably will not be able to pull our knees into our chest. But we can either hover our feet a few inches from the floor or start to pull the knees towards the chest. If you're lower down and you want to bring your hands onto your knees or shins and do your little rock side to side, you may. We're all eventually going to end up on our side coming off of our props. So one arm can stay beside the ear. We'll roll to one side and we'll give ourselves a pause. And then we'll press down into the ground and slowly come up. So we're going to move our whole body around and move right into a supported child's pose. But because some of us do have some bigger props around us, when we're moving these props around, especially if we're seated, I really want you to do this mindfully. So I want you to be engaging your core muscles. When you move those props, make sure that your back is supported with some strength. And there's no hurry, so don't rush. So we just did a gentle back bending heart chest opener. Now we're going to move right around and let the belly, the heart, and body sink to the floor the other direction. And we will add as much props as we need here for support. So first things first, you're welcome to come into child's pose without any props. If you want to sink a little further towards the ground, keeping those hands extended and getting a deeper shoulder stretch. However, if you want to take this into the more restorative version of the pose, we'll want to have something in front of the body, like a nice big pillow, couple pillows or blankets to rest the chest on. Some of us take care of our knees. So a nice thing to do for that is to fold up a blanket or take a pillow behind the knees giving ourselves something to sit up on. Even placing a yoga block between the feet so we have a little bit of support there. If you have another variation that you take in your practice, do so. So I'm going to be taking the more modified restorative version. If you have a pillow in front of you, we'll leave a little bit of space for the belly. If we have a couple pillows or blankets in front of us, we can bring our body down over that support and even wrap our arms around that support. So if you have a bolster, taking a yoga block under the head of the bolster and wrapping your arms around it can feel quite nice. Reaching those arms over the top of your props. It might feel comfortable to bring the forehead to the hands with the head facing down, or if we're using the props, turning the head to one side. So lots of options. Make it work for your body tonight. Good. So some of you are doing the more traditional. Just continue to let the belly and the heart reach towards the floor. I do want our head supported. So if that head isn't easily touching the ground, use your props. Those of you that have your fingertips extended, you can continue to reach those index fingers towards the front corners of the mat. Good. Looks good. And then just breathe. Smooth, even breath, in and out through the nose. So we're taking the time now to give our low back a nice big stretch, the area around our hips, and allowing our mind to just calm down. Anytime we bring our head towards the floor, it can help reduce the stress of our day, the hecticness of our day. So those of us on support that have our head turned one direction, carefully turn your head the opposite direction to give your neck a counter twist. And we will hold for several more moments here, simply being and breathing. Let's all take one more cycle of breath in Balasana, child's pose. So the next inhale, again, depending where we are, we'll walk our hands towards the body. We can press into the hands to peel the body up off of our props. So if we're able to sit back on the heels for a moment, go ahead and do so. We're moving the props out of the way. We're all eventually going to end up in tabletop position on our hands and our knees so that we can get another benefit of child's pose, and that's the releasing of the pose. So we'll clear our space as needed. We'll bring our hands back underneath the shoulders, fingers spread nice and wide, and we'll stack our knees right underneath our hips with those toes tucked or pointed. Do draw in through that low belly to support our back. Keeping the hips level, let's give our right foot a nice big stretch behind us. So the foot is to the floor. We may press our weight back through that back heel to intensify the stretch all the way up to the back of the leg. Try to keep equal weight in both hands, distributing that weight out into the first knuckle of each fingertip so that our wrists aren't bearing all that weight. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, right knee comes down to the ground, low back and hips should remain level. Let's give that left leg a big stretch back. And we're holding and breathing here. So as we press that heel back, we can shift that weight back, let the breath flow in and out of the nose. Feel the eye of the knee opening. Deep breath in. And then exhale, let's bring that knee down. Neutral spine, moving through a few rounds of cat-cow to help loosen things up. Again, toes may be tucked or pointed. On the inhale, we'll relax the belly, lifting the tail, Trying to create space all the way up the spine through the crown of the head. On the exhale, we scoop that tailbone under, drawing the belly in, rounding the back up to the ceiling, chin to chest, drishti to the belly button. Find your rhythm. Inhaling to more gentle back bend and some extension. Exhale, scooping, tucking, and rounding. So remember, try to get the hips into some of this, our anterior and posterior pelvic tilts. Movement all the way up the spine, vertebra by vertebra. The space between our shoulder blades, the neck and the head. And then let's come back into a neutral position, tabletop. The next pose we'll practice is thread the needle. This will be a nice stretch for one shoulder at a time. It will bear a little bit of weight down on the shoulder depending how far we go into it, and I'll give us modifications as we go into it. And we'll actually flow into the pose tonight just to kind of loosen things up at first. Starting with the right arm. On the inhale, float the right arm out and up, opening the chest again. On the exhale, just go a little bit. Thread that right hand behind the left wrist with the palm up. Look to your left. We're going to inhale and pull that arm all the way back out and up. Exhale, we're going to go a little bit further. So we're just kind of testing the waters here. Keep that low belly pulling in to support the back. One more time. Inhale, out and up. So this next exhale brings the right arm underneath the chest. We thread it across. We bend the left elbow to lower down to that outer shoulder and onto our right ear. If that does not work for you tonight, you may sit back on your sit bones and simply bring the right arm across the chest in a seated position. Now, if you have a thread the needle pose that you like to practice, feel free to go to it at any time. Otherwise, I'll go through some options for us this evening. So low belly's in, low back should still be nice and level. Toes can be tucked or pointed at this point. First option, walk your left hand forward to the front of your yoga mat, sinking that left shoulder down in front of the face to deepen the stretch. Second option, sweep the left arm on top of the right arm. The left hand will be extended further than the right hand. And then you can try to walk your left fingertips even further out. That will intensify the stretch on the right shoulder. Third option, left hand to hip. Now this is going to start to turn into more of a balancing pose. It's really easy to fall out of this pose, so just make sure you're in a safe space. If you want to get into the balancing pose, you can bring the left arm behind the back into a half bind. Left foot will kickstand out slightly to the long edge of the yoga mat, and then you will slide that left foot out until your left leg is straight. So it's not moving straight behind the hip, it's out at an angle. This will definitely be putting more pressure on the right shoulder and neck, so be mindful. If you're in the half bind position, the left arm can also reach straight up to the ceiling with the palm facing forward. So lots of choices. Choose and pick what works best for your body tonight. Smooth, even breath in and out through the nose. We'll all take one more breath in. When we get to our exhale, the left hand comes right back down in front of the face where it started. The left knee and foot come back down. The left arm does all the work. Push it into the floor. Look down. Inhale, slide that right arm all the way out and up. Open the chest. Exhale, bring the right hand back down to the ground. Take a couple cat-cows just to make sure everything comes back where it needs to be. Inhaling to cow pose, gentle back bending. Exhale, rounding into cat stretch. Meeting back in neutral position. We'll do all of that on the other side. Left arm. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, go a little bit. Slide it under. The palm is up. Look to the right. Inhale, pulls it out and up. Exhale, we can try to go a little bit further, see how it feels. One more breath, inhale, out and up. Next exhale, take it all the way across. So we are coming down onto the outside of the left shoulder and the left ear. Option to do this pose in a seated position, bringing the arm across the chest. So same thing on this side, go where you want to go. I will go through all the steps just as a reminder. Right arm may walk forward to the top of the yoga mat, sinking the right shoulder further down in front of the face. Right arm might sweep down, so right arm is stacked on top of the left arm. However, the right hand will be further away from you than the left. And you can continue to try to walk those right fingertips further away. Right hand to right hip. Starting a little bit of balance work, more pressure, stretch for that left shoulder. Half binding, right arm wraps all the way around the low back. Mindful balancing, right foot kickstands out from the long edge of the yoga mat, sliding the right foot out, straightening it. Good choices. Right arm can reach up to the ceiling, palm faces forward. Wherever we are, smooth, even breath in and out through the nose. We'll all take one more inhale. The exhale, we unwind out of the pose. Right hand back down where it started in front of the face. Right knee and foot back down to neutral. Right arm does the work. Push it down, look down. Inhale that left arm out and up. Exhale back to our tabletop. Couple rounds of our cat-cow. So we just gave our shoulders a nice big stretch. Now we'll do some strengthening and go into our second inversion if we had our legs elevated on our back. So tuck those toes under, walk those hands, one hand distance forward, draw the low belly in, press the ground away from you as we lift up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. If you feel like you need to lengthen your stance, by all means do so. Sink those heels towards the floor. They do not need to touch. Bend your knees deeply if your back needs a little bit more space and length. Fingers are nice and wide. We're rooting internally through the mound of the index finger and thumb. Externally through those upper arm bones. Engaging the shoulders down the back so the neck can be free and loose. Belly in towards the thighs. Thighs push towards the back of the mat. We'll take several breaths here. You're always welcome to come back down to tabletop or child's pose. If we want to take our dog for a walk to get a bigger stretch to the backs of those knees, sink one heel at a time, bending the opposite knee. If we're walking the dog and pedaling our heels, let's find some stillness. So balance yourself out. Once again, sink those heels towards the ground, heart to belly, belly to thighs. One more nice big breath for all of us. The inhale looks forward and we'll baby step our feet to our hands, hands to our feet into Uttanasana. So those of you that modify your forward folds, knees are bent deeply, elbows or hands on our thighs. You can stay in a full forward fold. The legs should be nice and strong, so the feet should be engaged equally to the ground, thighs engaged. Think about those lower locks or bandhas, the pelvic floor squeezing and lifting in and up, the lower abdominals below the navel lifting in and up. Still upside down in our inversion, getting some blood flow to the brain. Try to release the shoulders, head, and neck if it's an option. One more breath here. Tonight we're going to articulate our spine to come up. So I want us all to bend our knees, placing our hands on our thighs, turn the fingertips in. Tuck the chin into the chest, press to the ground to both feet equally, and inhale, round up. Inhale, breathing. We've been upside down, so we've got to inhale, inhale, inhale. We're stacking the spine one vertebra at a time. When we come up, purposely give your shoulders a little squeeze up, and then exhale, let them fall away from the ears, let the arms float beside the torso. If we get lightheaded or dizzy, we bring ourselves back to the ground. And we'll pause for a moment in Tadasana or mountain pose. And because we started with a little heart opening tonight, let's carry this into our standing posture. So turning our palms forward and spreading those fingers nice and wide. Little external rotation, those upper arm bones. Little squeeze between the shoulder blades. So that will strengthen the upper back, improve our posture, but continue to pull front body to back body and that lengthening of the upper buttock down to the ground. Our knees should be unlocked. Our feet should be equally grounded. Let's pick up those toes and spread the toes, rooting through the four corners of the feet. Take a breath. You can softly lower the toes to the ground, but keep that engagement through the legs. Inhale, we're gonna reach wide all the way overhead, adding those feet. So as we reach up, lift the heels up, bringing the palms to touch, exhaling, lowering the heels and the hands to the heart. 2 more rounds of our palm tree pose. Fix the drishti on one spot. If this is getting easier for the body and the brain, the next challenge is to follow the fingertips with the gaze upwards to the ceiling. So in the inhale, you try to look up as you reach up, a little harder. And then on the exhale, we're gonna lower back down to the ground. From here, open the feet a little wider, just a hair. As wide as the hips, or might be slightly a little wider than the hips. We'll lean into our right side and we'll forcefully push our right foot through the floor. And when we push down into the ground, we should feel this side get a little lighter. So the right side's doing all the work, left side's gonna start to float. We'll float our arms up beside the body, start to lift and lower the toes of the left foot. You're always welcome to have a chair or a wall nearby to help with the balance. And then tonight, if we want a little bit more, we'll hover, flexing the foot. Once again, turning the palms forward with the fingertips spread, and we'll lift up into this pose, Tadasana or star pose. So now the left side is doing as much work. So you have to engage the glute, the abductors, the obliques, reaching in 4 directions. Notice the breath. Good. Let's all take one more breath in. On the exhale, we'll just land as softly as possible. The feet can still be a little wider than traditional Tadasana. Let the arms hover down and pause. No unnecessary movements. Keep your drishti focused on one spot. Inhale, turn the palms out, reach it up. Palms touch, exhale, hands to heart. Lean to the left. Push that left foot through the floor. Push down into the ground. You should feel those muscles around the waistline get stronger and tighten up. We can do a soft hover with the arms, a little lift and lower of the toes, just kind of playing with our balance on this side. Not being surprised that one side can feel quite different than the other. Keeping it soft or a little bit more engagement. Flex the foot, hover the foot, palms forward, spread the fingers, and then you're using your whole right side to lift that leg up, squeezing those muscles. The arms can reach out and up. If we dance out of the pose, we can just come back to it. Good, some of you are choosing to stay more soft or hover. Good job. One more big breath in. On the exhale, again, soft landing, as soft as we can. Plant the feet, hover the arms, pause. Inhale, turn the palms out, reach it up. Exhale, bring the palms together back to heart center. We're going to do one more standing balance tonight. Another more gentle version, but maybe a little bit more challenging because this one involves a little bit more movement. This is crane pose. Lean back into that right leg. Push it through the floor. So the right leg super strong and anchored. Feel those muscles wrapping around the waist. Get nice and strong. Once again, hover the arms out softly. Try to lift and lower the toes of the left foot. Now here we're going to have a little bend in this right knee, just very tiny micro bend. So here comes the movement. On the inhale, we bend at the elbows, you relax the wrists, you pull the left knee up and the arms float up like the wings of a bird. And this leg, the foot is relaxed. That other pose we've been doing is stiff and hard. This is soft. On the exhale, you float back down. Now you may touch back down to the ground or hover. Inhale, as fluid movement as we can. The knee comes up, the wrists float up. Exhale. One more round. Still hovering. We're going to inhale and now hold. Don't hold the breath. Lifting the knee, pull the low belly in, holding those arms up. Breath is moving in and out through the nose. If we fly out of the pose, just come back to it. Inhale. Keep the leg up. Exhale, hands to hips. Point to that toe. You can extend it down towards the floor in front of you, or try to keep the knee up and point the toe forward. This is a version of the pose we've been practicing. For 3, 2, 1. The foot's going to come down. It can stay a little wide. Arms float down. Pause. Observe. And breathe. Other side, turn those palms out. Inhale, big circle. Reach it all the way up. Create some space. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Lean to the left. Push that left foot through the floor. Grow roots into the floor. Feel the whole left side get strong. The muscles around the waist get strong. Hover the arms. Hover the toes. Find some balance here. Maybe a little bend in that standing knee if it's available. So we want our joints to be kind of loosey-goosey in this pose. On the inhale, soften the wrists, lift the right knee up. The foot's just hanging from the knee joint, so don't put any effort in the foot or the fingertips. They're super soft. Exhale, lower, touch or hover. The inhale pulls us up to crane pose. Looks like Karate Kid. Exhale. One more round. So now we'll find the stillness in the pose. Inhaling the knee and the arms back up. Keep breathing. Fix that drishti. Pull that low belly in. Standing leg through the floor. If we fly out, we fly right back into it. Breathe it in. Keep the leg up. Exhale, hands to hips. Strong core, point through the toes of the foot. You may stretch it down towards the ground in front of you, or try to keep the thigh up and point the toes forward without leaning back for 3, 2, 1. Lower the foot down. Feet can be wide. Hover the arms down. Pause and breathe. Inhale, turn those palms out. Reach it out and up. Big stretch. Drishti to the thumbs for a gentle back bend. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, so from here, if we moved around on our mat for our balancing work, we can move back towards the front of our mat. If we're still there, stay there. We'll open the feet about hips width apart. Arms will come back down beside the body, palms forward. Pick up the toes, spread the fingertips. Pretend you're standing against an invisible wall, drawing that front body to back body, floating the head on the shoulders. Big breath in to reach those arms out and up. A lot of extension here. Drishti can look up. On our exhale, micro bend those knees, sweeping the arms back, around and down into our version of Uttanasana. Some of us might stop halfway. Some of us might keep melting the body forward and down to forward fold. We'll hang out for a breath or two, trying to release the head, neck, and shoulders, keeping the legs and the core nice and strong. Next, inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, pull the shoulder blades back, look slightly forward. And this exhale, we'll bend our knees, plant our hands, and we'll all take a very big step back into plank pose, 1 foot at a time. You are welcome to come right down onto the knees and kneeling plank. Tonight, we're gonna hold for a breath or two here. So this is a powerful pose, press into the mat. Keep the head in line with the spine. Take one more breath in. On the exhale, we can drop down to our knees, bend our elbows straight back. We are gonna lower all the way down to our bellies for a moment, so if you need to make adjustments with yourself and your surroundings, do so. Come all the way down to the belly. Point the tops of the feet. Keep the feet wider than the hips if you take care of your low back. Zip the legs and toes together for more traditional Bhujangasana Cobra pose. Chin is forward, squeeze the muscles of the upper, mid, and lower back, and inhale, float the heart up. So the glutes are supporting characters, give them a squeeze, make sure they're not unnecessary clenched. Legs are nice and strong. Take one more breath here, holding the heart up with the strength of the back. And then glide your elbows straight forward under the shoulders. We're gonna lift up a little bit higher and come into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, we can immediately let go of clenching the buttocks or using the legs. So we'll let the heels just flop open, give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. It's the upper body that's doing the work in this pose. Take the pinky edge of the hands, knifing them into the ground, nice and strong. The alignment is the webbing of the index fingers and thumbs, moving to grab a hold of the inner elbows. So elbows should be right underneath the shoulders. Now press those forearms into the ground, pull the elbows towards the body, and reach the crown of the head forward and up, trying to gaze straight forward to the horizon. If we need a little less tonight, flare your elbows out and simply rest your forehead on your hands. You will still be in a gentle back bend. So we should feel a stretch now through the front of the body again, feel that heart opening. Gently pull the shoulder blades together. This pose helps counter that rounding, decompresses the intervertebral discs of the spine. Little stretch for our neck again. Take a breath in. On the exhale, look over the right shoulder. Maybe see how far you can see back there to your feet. Inhale back. Exhale, look over the left shoulder. See how far you can see. Use your eyes nice and wide. Inhale back to center. One more time to each side. Exhale. Rotating through the neck. Maybe we go a little further, maybe we don't. Inhale back. Exhale, peek over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center. On the exhale, bring your hands back under the shoulders, lower all the way back down to the ground. You can tuck the chin, kiss the mat, tuck the toes, tuck the tailbone. Squeeze your elbows in, pull the inner belly in. We're gonna push ourselves back up. You can try to push up through a kneeling plank here. Then bring your knees back underneath the hips and start with some baby cat-cows. So little baby back bends on our inhales, little gentle flexion and rounding on our exhales. If we want to float those hips up, back, one more time, Adho Mukha Svanasana to give the back a stretch, feel free to do so. If you're up and down dog, let's inhale, lift our heels up, stretch out the soles of the feet and the toes. Exhale, we're going to drop down to our knees, point the toes, and all try to sit back in traditional Balasana. Sitting our hips back to our heels, bowing the head down towards the ground, and sliding our hands back to our feet. Draping those arms alongside of the body. Bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin, articulating again up the spine, stacking one vertebra at a time. Head's the last thing to come up. We'll shift our weight over to either hip and bring our feet forward. So we're going to come right back down to the ground and do some hip work on our back tonight and a couple twisting movements. So we'll scooch forward so we have enough space behind us. You're welcome to come onto one side and bring the body down, or we'll use a little bit of core. Just be mindful how that feels for the back. Planting the soles of the feet to the floor, the knees are open, reaching fingertips forward, and then pulling the belly in, trying to come down one vertebra at a time. Once we all reach back down to the ground and the head is down, we'll go back to our long body stretch. So we'll reach our arms overhead, straighten out the legs on the middle of our yoga mat, point and flex the feet a couple times, reach side to side. We'll float the arms down, draw our shoulder blades under, walk the feet in, pull the belly in to hug the knees in and give the back a little massage. So we're practicing supine pigeon tonight. We'll bring the feet back to the floor. We'll start with the right leg. Draw that right knee back in and then press the sole of the foot up to the ceiling, straightening the right leg. We want our right foot now to be very actively flexed, pulling our toes to our shin bone. Externally rotating at the thigh bone, turn your thigh out. That'll bring the heel in and the toes out slightly. Keeping the foot flexed, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. For some of us, this might be enough tonight. Gently taking the right hand to the inner thigh, you can kind of press it away from you, trying to open up that hip a little bit more. Again, if you have a version that you like to go to, feel free to go to it at any time. I'll give us some modifications or variations. If we want a little bit more, pull your left knee in towards you. We may be able to wrap our hands behind the left thigh and then extending the left foot up to the ceiling as well. So stretching out the right hip, piriformis, and getting a little hamstring stretch up the back of the left leg. Try to keep your shoulders equally grounded, head to the ground, take support behind the head if needed. Going a little bit deeper, bends the left knee, trying to reach across the left shin bone. And then from there, drawing the left knee towards the left shoulder, encouraging the right knee away from the body. So we should feel this on the outer right hip mostly. And then we might need to go back to a previous variation that works best for us. Just one or two more deep breaths here. If the leg is extended, bend the knee. Release the hands, bring the left foot back down to the ground. Re-extend the right leg up to the ceiling as we inhale, straighten it out. Exhale, bring the right foot to the floor. Just rock your knees side to side a little bit. If you need to make adjustments in your posture, do so. Draw the belly in, hug the left knee in. Extend the left leg straight up to the ceiling. Foot actively flexing, toes to shin bone. Externally rotate that left thigh bone, heel in, toes out. Foot stays flexed. Cross left ankle on top of right thigh. You might immediately notice, like I do, that one side is more open than the other, normal and natural. Little rocking movements here. Left hand to that inner thigh bone to encourage it away if we want more. Or pull the right knee in towards the body. Hands wrapped behind the right thigh. Extending the right leg up to the ceiling for a hamstring stretch, but the focus is more on stretching out that left hip. Shoulders should be relaxed down, the face should be relaxed, the throat and the jaw. Bend the right knee, try to take a hold of the right shin bone if we want a little bit more. Then guiding the right knee to right shoulder, encouraging the left knee away from the body. Supta Kapottanasana, reclining pigeon pose. One more breath. If the leg is extended, bend the knee. Exhale, release the hands, bring the right foot back down to the ground. Inhale, re-extend the left leg straight up to the ceiling first. We want to straighten out around that left knee and then bring that left foot down, rock the knees side to side. So we'll finish up with a little bit of twisting action, drawing the knees back towards the body, extending the arms up from our shoulders, keeping the feet parallel to each other and knees together. We'll lower the knees off to the right-hand side. Take a prop underneath the right thigh or knee as needed. Place the right hand on the top thigh or knee to deepen the twist. Sink both shoulders, especially the left shoulder, back down to the ground. Head turns to the left, eyes may close. Taking some more slow, deep breaths here. Try to breathe with the belly a little bit more to help let go of any lingering tension or stress in our body. Focus on those exhales. The inhale will bring the head and the knees back up to center. One knee at a time is fine. You might need to do a little scooch and adjustment before we do the other side. Knees together, feet parallel. Exhale, knees to the left. Add props as needed. Left hand to that top thigh to deepen the twist. Both shoulders sink into the ground, especially the right shoulder. Head turns to the right. Close the eyes. Belly breathing as much as possible. Relax the face, the throat. Our next inhale will bring the head and the knees back up to center. Realign the head with the spine. Hugging the knees in, drawing the nose up to the knees for even deeper squeeze. Big breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to allow our body to come back down to the ground. So we are going to move into our final relaxation at this point. If we want to bring some props back into the pose, you may reach for your pillows, your blankets underneath or on top of the body, eye pillows, making our adjustments to move into this posture. If you feel like you need to do anything else to get yourself ready for our finishing part of our practice, do so. If you want to add layers, do so. Remembering this is a pose that we practice like every other pose that we practiced. Our whole practice is a moving meditation, preparing us for relaxation. We'll pause in our Shavasana for several moments. to absorb all the benefits of our practice. I'll bring us out with the singing bowls I normally do, or we will come up to a seated to do a little bit of pranayama, mantra, and continued meditation if you'd like. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay in your shavasana. So once we get comfortable, release the whole weight of the body to the ground. Eyes close and sink into those sockets. Rock the head as needed to loosen the neck and to help find the very back center of the skull. Poof the cheeks with air, swallow a couple times, yawn, releasing the mouth, tongue, and jaw. Smooth the skin of the brow and the forehead. Relax the eyebrow center. Relax the throat. Soften the heart and the chest. Let the arms be heavy, relaxing all the way down into the wrists, the hands, and the fingertips. Relaxing the back of the body. Relaxing the front of the body. Relax the belly completely, noticing a subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Let the legs hang heavy, feet flopping open, relaxing all the way down from the hips to the knees, and to the ankles, the feet, and toes. Relax the whole body. The breath becomes easy, quiet, and calm. If the mind wanders, we gently bring it back to this peaceful breath, giving ourselves permission to let go, to feel a sense of surrender, and to sink into Shavasana. Those of you that would prefer to stay in Shavasana, continue to stay grounded, relaxing. If you'd like to slowly come up, just take a moment, as we usually do, to wake the body up from Shavasana, giving those toes a little wiggle, the fingertips, a gentle rock of the head side to side. Stretching out on the mat as needed, arms overhead, left to right. And then walking the feet in and hugging the knees into the body to rock out the back. And then bringing one arm beside the head to roll over to one side, pausing for a moment in Supta Balasana, sleeping baby pose. And then pressing down into the ground. Try to keep the eyes soft or closed. We really want to try to keep our awareness inward as much as possible. We will be bringing the body up to a seated position, so we'll probably want to sit up on something, taking a pillow, a folded blanket, or a bolster underneath the sit bones. Once you've sat up nice and tall, you want to find the sit bones, adjust our clothing and our surroundings. So really important to keep our posture tall and erect the whole time. We will go for just a few rounds of Nadi Shodhanam tonight. This is alternate nostril breathing. I'll guide us through 2 rounds, and then we'll practice 2 rounds on our own. So it'll just be a quick preparation to guide us into our mantra and meditation. So taking the hands in Chin Mudra, index finger to thumb, placing the palms down on the knees. Again, extend up through the spine to the crown of the head. Taking our right hand in Nasagra Mudra. It's like the peace sign, index finger, pinky touches thumb. Sorry, the ring and pinky touches the thumb. The middle and index fingers stick up. We draw those 2 fingers together, turning the right hand towards the face. Placing the thumb gently on the outside of the right nostril and the ring and the pinky on the outside of the left nostril. The index and middle finger press into the third eye center. To begin, we inhale through both nostrils. We exhale back out through both nostrils. Then we close the right nostril off completely with the thumb and inhale just through the left. Close the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale back through the right nostril. Close the right, open the left, and exhale. That's 1 round. Inhale left. Close left, open right, exhale. Inhale back through the right. Close right, open left, exhale. Go through 2 more rounds at your own rhythm and pace. Continue to sit up nice and tall. If the right arm gets tired, place the left hand under the right elbow to help prop it up. If one side is a little congested compared to the other, just do your best to breathe through it. When you're on your next round of Nadi Shodhanam, when you get to your next exhale out through the left nostril, that'll be the last round that we practice. So when you get there, you'll exhale completely through the left nostril. At the bottom of that exhalation, bring both hands back down to the knees in Chin Mudra, palms up or down. Concentrate the mind's eye at the third eye center for a moment. Maintain the posture up the spine through the crown of the head. So I will begin with the mantra, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. It means, may all beings everywhere be happy and free. You may verbally join in with me. We'll practice a few rounds. We'll let the mantra verbally fade. And then again, we'll sit for just a moment or two in our meditation. We may continue to mentally recite that mantra over and over again. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Keeping the eyes closed. Check in with the posture, sitting up tall to the crown of the head. Minding our space, we'll reach the arms out beside the body, palms up. Taking another nice deep breath in through the nose, we'll reach those arms all the way up to the ceiling and gather up everything we need for the rest of our evening. Turning the palms out, exhaling out through the nose, we'll float those arms all the way back down to the ground, letting go of all that other junk we don't need this evening. One more time, inhaling, floating those arms up. Bringing the palms to touch, exhaling the hands to Anjali Mudra in front of the heart, humbly bowing the head down to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to practice our yoga together. Joining me for the Om Shanti mantra, if you like, taking a deep breath in through the nose. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I thank you all so much as usual for your practice,